What about keeping unity and peace versus exposing the darkness? Do I flip this table or do Matthew 18? We have to wrestle with it. You can't treat people like that. This doesn't look like Jesus. Is this the best way to handle this? What about keeping unity and peace versus exposing the darkness? When do I keep unity and peace? Because Scripture talks so much about that. As far as it depends on you, Paul said in Romans, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone, okay? And at the same time, Paul said, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. So when I see a deed of darkness, do I do whatever I can to live at peace with that person? Do I expose them, or do I do both? And how do I do both? That's a real life tension that I've had to wrestle with. What does it look like to do both?
I don't know if I really subscribe to the Enneagram anymore. It's been overblown. But if I do, I'm an 8. And I'm the high justice. So if I see something wrong, I'm always for, like, let's expose it. And I mean, that's harder when you're sitting there thinking, what if I'm the wrong one? Do I expose myself? Do I expose that part in me that is doing the wrong, or do I expose everybody else? Or where's the tension in that as well? But I'm always going to err on the side of let's make it right. Let's do what we have to do to
not just for other people, but again for yourself. Yeah. And I think that's where you really have to wrestle with the tension, because it doesn't just benefit me, right? It doesn't just benefit me. So, but I've had to wrestle with it. Again, if it's easy for you to always expose the darkness, then you're probably over leaning on that justice button. Yeah. Right?
I don't think it's easy. I had a conversation once with the high up leader at a big church. We were in a big staff meeting, and he said something that just ripped into one of the employees. And I don't think it was like malicious, but like he had a strong stance on something, and he let him have it in front of everybody. And I told him, I said, hey man, that didn't look like, but I grappled with that. Like, should I say anything?
Should I stand up right now and say, you may be right, but the way you're treating this person is like garbage, and that's not right.
And I thought, I could get fired for saying this. I could get demoted. I could get pushed out,
I'll say this. If your worry for saying something is that you could get fired or removed from a position, you should always say it. If that's your worry, you should always say it. Like, you're going to be fine. Those things keep us. But we go through that. We have to wrestle with it.
I did say it because the 8 in me just wouldn't let me stop.
You did say it behind closed doors, which I think, from my understanding.
Yes, it was. It wasn't behind closed doors, but nobody was around.
It was after. It was
after. It was, But, and I don't even know if it was received or not. I mean, he said, thanks for letting me know.
Here was the tension you were dealing with there. It wasn't just exposing the darkness or not, but you living at peace, but it was also, do I flip this table or do Matthew 18?
Right.
Yeah. Because you could have flipped the tables by literally just standing up and going, hey, you may be right, but you can't treat people like that. And I think this doesn't look like Jesus right in the middle of staff meeting. And you would have been within your rights. But the question was, you were wrestling with the tension of, is this the best way to handle this? Right? Is it? And I think when you're going to flipping tables and stuff, is there another way that could work just as well? Let me try that first.
Yeah.
Even if you don't believe that it will.